As the British and Canadians swerved toward the Zuyder Zee, the Americans crossed the Elbe and the Russians the Oder. Germany is crumbling. But armor and men of the American Ninth Army have tough going on the road to Hanover. In other parts of Germany, Allied armor sweeps through without resistance. The tank columns fan out toward Stuttgart, Schweinfurt, Erfurt, Magdeburg, Brunswick, Bremen, all Germany in the target. Everywhere in Germany, white handkerchiefs signify surrender. But among the Dutch at Enschede, there is only happiness when the British Coldstream Guards roll in. And when the American First Army captures a trainload of V-2 bombs with all the secrets intact, there is happiness in England. In the southern sector, air attack precedes an advance. P-47 zoom down ahead of the ground forces. After the tactical air blows, armor and men of the American Ninth Army pour in. This is combined operations, perfected in battles from Normandy to Franconia. Long columns drive into battle. Then, on mopping up operations, the infantry rushes in. The foot soldier takes over. Men deploy to check a counterattack, wipe out resistance, dig out snipers. Sometimes the unseen snipers fire at their own countrymen to discourage surrender. But the rate of German surrenders is nearly 1 million a month, as Allied armor rushes relentlessly toward the heart of Germany. To the whole free world, the stunning news has come that Franklin Roosevelt is dead. Death in the hour of victory, like President Lincoln before him. He is beyond party, he is beyond faction, he is in the hands of history. It will remember the young governor of New York in 1929. It will remember the ailing man who helped sufferers like himself. It will remember the swift tide that made him president in 1933. Young, vigorous, the man of action. A new spirit in a harassed land. The beacon and hope for millions.
Like a real landslide this time. I, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the...
When he took the oath of office that blustery March day in Washington, it was in the midst of a dark time for his country. The banks were failing, farms were in ruin. An army of hungry men walked in the streets looking for work. But the new president, with wisdom, with firmness, with humanity, with a voice that rang from corner to corner of the land, took hold, inspired faith, and turned the tide. He had hours also for his mother, who still lived, for his grandchildren, whom he loved dearly. For a second term, he was elected by an overwhelming majority.
American,
Winston Roosevelt.
In 1941, with tyranny astride the outer world, he was elected still again, an honor given to no other man in his country's history. But for England, for the free peoples in desperate straits, he was the same hope he had been to his own people 8 years before.
In this historic crisis, Britain is blessed with a brilliant and great leader in Winston Churchill. But knowing him, no one knows better than Mr. Churchill himself that it is not alone his stirring words and valiant deeds that give the British their superb morale. The essence of that morale is in the masses of plain people who are completely clear in their minds about the one essential fact that they would rather die as free men than live as slaves. They need tanks and guns and ammunition and supplies of all kinds. From America they will get tanks and guns and ammunition and supplies of all kinds.
In 1941, with Prime Minister Churchill, his was like a voice out of darkness promising light. The Atlantic Charter. It was a promise. It was a call to arms. It was a call to freedom. And the enemy struck at America. A day that will live in infamy. And in the cause of freedom, he offered himself for a fourth term.
Like most men of my age, I had made plans for myself. Plans for a private life of my own choice. But today, all private plans, all private lives have been in a sense repealed by an overriding public danger. Those are the reasons why I have had to admit to myself and now state to you that my conscience will not let me turn my back upon a call to service. I will, with God's help, continue to serve with the best of my ability and with the fullness of my strength.
And the people of America stood behind him. He and the new Vice President, Truman, in January of 1945, went back to Washington. Truman of Missouri, a brave and honest man, a supporter of Roosevelt's policy for 11 years. Here shown with his family at the time of his election to the vice presidency. It is he who in this, his country's grievous hour, has pledged himself in his first utterance as president to abide by the principles of his great predecessor. President Roosevelt, unknown even to himself, was already near death in the service of his country. But 2 months before his death, he made his last and greatest journey to Yalta in the Russian Crimea, there to plan, there to devise with his most powerful peers the peace, the unity, the human hope of plain men everywhere, which was the goal and desire of all his labors. We shall labor on. For him it is over. He no longer belongs to America. He belongs to the world.